So we sell ads in the magazine, and also I understand we have an insert that goes in. Actually, this will be our second magazine. The first was put out when? I guess that was in the summer.
Last summer, right.
And then we brought out our second edition, which came out for winter 2012. And both are available. By the way, you can call into our studio at 724-873-7777, and we'll be able to send a magazine out to you. But in addition to that, you put a little insert in there, right?
Yes. This actually is an accurate representation by way of a map of the entire business park. And we code each building with a number, and that corresponds to the directory, so that if someone's visiting the park and they're trying to navigate their way through these 260 or so different businesses and 55 buildings, they have a more accurate way of being able to get directed to those businesses they're after.
Good. And a lot of you listeners out there are saying, well, what does that have to do with me as a businessman? And I think that it's important that you realize that because of Southpointe being the mecca or the focal point of all the gas oil energy business, that there are opportunities for people anywhere from a copy machine company to a hotel, catering, car detailing, you name the business, and pretty much there's an opportunity in Southpointe to do something with that. And of course, it's only 15 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh, so it's not like we're way out there in the middle of nowhere. But it is a great opportunity to advertise in this magazine and read the articles and come up to speed on what's happening here.
Right.
Good. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Terry? Does that pretty well cover what we have? If I wanted to place an ad in the magazine, how would I go about doing that?
Well, there's several ways, Don. You can go to our website at southpointemag.com. We have information there. We actually have the magazine online. And there's also an order form if you would like to place an ad in the next upcoming edition, which will be sometime late spring, early summer of this year.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Or you can call at 724-873-7777, or you can even go to our email address. You can email it to me at terry@southpointe.net.
Sounds good. And hey, I had a couple questions. What brought you, just in closing, what brought you into this business? Did you just wake up when you were 17 in high school and say, I am going to be a media published guy? How did that happen?
No, not really. Actually, after my college degree is not in marketing at all, but 25 years in sales, and most of that, probably 12 years of that, was in magazine and newspaper business with the Tribune Review. Gave me an opportunity to at least have some preparation. But I got a call from Don here about a little over a year ago about working with him to help publish advertising for the Chamber and to do basically to help turbocharge what his plans were for the Chamber of Commerce.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's really been working out great. This actually started out, Terry and I will tell you that this magazine actually started out as just a map. It was to be a map with ads around the border of the map, and we ran out of room in the first 2 weeks, so we said, what are we going to do? Well, let's switch to a magazine, and that's how this whole magazine concept came about. It was actually, we stumbled into it. Right?
That's right.
And it's been working great. So you heard it. If you want to run an ad in the magazine or just pick up a magazine and read a couple articles. Oh, by the way, it's online too at southpointemag.com. It's online as well. So you can actually electronically flip through the pages on the internet if you don't have a hard copy, and even press the print button and print it if you like. And that's southpointemag.com. And there is an E on the end of Southpointe. And we're working on a jingle that says there's an E on the end of Southpointe, because that seems to be, there's the picture for those of you watching the video portion of the show, E on the end of Southpointe. southpointemag.com. Thank you very much, Terry Caldwell, and we will return after these important words.
If you want to be in the mainstream of information in the gas and oil energy industry, you want to read Southpointe Marcellus Shale Magazine. This magazine is published by the Southpointe Chamber of Commerce, located in the Southpointe Industrial Park. Southpointe Marcellus Shale Magazine offers full-color gloss advertising space for as little as $990 per issue. This full-color publication is distributed in the 55 buildings at Southpointe with access to 250 energy-related readers in Southpointe. Ads range from hotels and restaurants to gas well subcontractors with informative articles in Southpointe Marcellus Shale Magazine. Read the magazine online at southpointemag.com. Call Terry to discuss your company advertising strategy at 724-873-7777. This is a great opportunity to get your company in front of the decision makers in the gas energy business with Southpointe Marcellus Shale Magazine. Call 724-873-7777. The Southpointe Marcellus Shale Chamber of Commerce invites you to become a member of this 15-year-old organization. Over 200 business leaders attend our breakfast, lunch, and evening events, giving you an excellent opportunity to meet others at Southpointe. Annual dues are only $225, and that includes invites to free events, 1/2 off on paid events, and priority email VIP invitations. As a new member, you will get an opportunity to publish your company news on southpointechamber.com website. We include a free 1-hour consulting session on how to market to the energy and Southpointe businesses. Call now and get a $25 free gift certificate to one of 25 restaurants in the Pittsburgh area. To join, go to southpointechamber.com or call 724-873-7777 and ask for Vic. Again, call 724-873-7777.
This is Don Hoder, and we're back at the Entrepreneur Business Community Show, and our program is dedicated to really focusing in on careers and different pieces of information about businessmen in the area. And today I have with me this morning as Vic Kabilas, and he is the membership director of the Southpointe Marcellus Shale Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Vic.
Good morning, Don. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, I guess one of my questions is, what does the membership director do?
As a membership director, I am in charge of promoting the chamber as well as increasing the membership.
Sounds simple enough in concept, but I'll bet it's a lot of work to get that done. And how many members do you have in the Southpointe Marcellus Shale Chamber?
We have over 300 members at the moment.
Yeah, great. And I understand that you also have I'll call it an associate list, which is an additional 2,500 that you do your email blasts and announcements to?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. And how's that work? You have a program that you do that with?
Yeah, I have a custom designed program which I can use to send an email campaign to however many email addresses there are on my list. And that gives me also statistics in return as to how many clicked, as to how many opened the email, and as to how many unsubscribed to the email list.
And I understand it even goes deeper than that. I saw the report that does forwards and in a lot of detail on what the click-throughs are.
Yes, that's right.
Cool, very nice. And I understand, too, that's all LinkedIn. A lot of LinkedIn people are in our organization.
Yes, LinkedIn, as well as members of the Southpointe business community.
Great. Good. Well, I guess, is there anything else we should know? I understand you have a membership drive coming up, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about the cost and why I would be a part of the Southpointe Chamber of Commerce membership.
Yeah, definitely. Our annual dues are only $225, and
Right.
with that you get a lot of networking opportunities. We currently do a monthly network lunch, which as a member, you get the chance to be a speaker and present your products and services to the audience. And also we have a multimedia approach to presenting you to the Southpointe business community. We have a Southpointe Marcellus Shale magazine where you can, advertise, and also we have this radio program which you host, Don.
radio program, and of course we video this at the same time. So we kind of cover all the bases, except maybe we haven't quite covered smoke signals, but we're working on that. So it's all about total media.
That's right.
Thank you very much. And the program, I guess, if you wanted to join, how would our listeners do that right now? They could go to a website or make a phone call, or what? How would we do that?
Yes, the best thing that the viewers or listeners can do is to go to shopsouthpointe.net, www.shopsouthpointe.net, which is our newly opened online store, and
Cool.
there they can join as member and also purchase the other items that we have there, such as network lunches.
Network lunch attending, membership, magazine ads, there are all kinds of good things on that website. And that's shopsouthpointe.net, and we have to remind everybody there's an E on the end of Southpointe. So it's SOUTHPOINTE.net, and you can have fun just browsing around with your shopping cart, your virtual shopping cart, right?
That's right.
Good. Well, I want to thank you very much for being on the program, and we look forward to working with you in the future on the upcoming events, programs, campaigns, and of course, if any of you are looking for what events are coming up, go to southpointechamber.com and click on the event calendar, which you maintain also, right?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much, Victor Kabilas, our Director of Membership for the Southpointe Marcellus Shell Chamber of Commerce. And now it's time to go to a break, and we'll be right back.
Want to be a guest on our show? Our program focuses on your successful ideas and concepts as they relate to our listening audience, as well as the products and services your company offers. We'd also like to know more about your personal life and how you chose your career. Someone said, a compelling story told to the right listeners in an exciting, truthful way leads to success that is helpful to all. Be a guest on our show by contacting our program manager, Don Holder, at 724-873-7777 or email at don@southpointe.net. Again, that's 724-873-7777 or don@southpointe.net. If you want to be in the mainstream of information in the gas and oil energy industry, you want to read Southpointe Marcellus Shale Magazine. This magazine is published by the Southpointe Chamber of Commerce, located in the Southpointe Industrial Park. Southpointe Marcellus Shale Magazine offers full-color gloss advertising space for as little as $990 per issue. This full-color publication is distributed in the 55 buildings at Southpointe, with access to 250 energy-related readers in Southpointe. Ads range from hotels and restaurants to gas well subcontractors with informative articles in Southpointe Marcellus Shale Magazine. Read the magazine online at southpointemag.com. Call Terry to discuss your company advertising strategy at 724-873-7777. This is a great opportunity to get your company in front of the decision makers in the gas energy business with Southpointe Marcellus Shale Magazine. Call 724-873-7777.
Hey, it's Don Hoder, and we're back here with the Entrepreneur Business Community Show this Saturday morning, and it's just it's a great time to have a time slot here with Word FM to just talk about entrepreneurs and ideas and just banter around thoughts that we have as entrepreneurs and how that relates to everyday business. And I have Terry Caldwell from the Southpointe Marcellus Shale Chamber of Commerce helping me co-host the show today. And hey, we got anything else you have on the agenda for us to talk about?
Actually, we have been involved in trade shows over the past number of years here in the area, and we've also attended a number of them. Maybe you can tell us about some of the recent trade show activity we've been involved in.
Sure enough, and you know it's gone trade show crazy this year. It just seems like there's so many trade shows, conferences, summits. What other names do they give them? They've got a zillion different names for them, but they're all focused on two items. One is the ability to meet together in one building and to show each other your products and services as they relate to the energy business, but even further out from the energy business, like I was talking about earlier, catering companies, car dealerships, hotels, motels, restaurants, they're all showing up at these shows. And I think that we're in a trend now, as far as we talked about all the medias, but what's really happening now is people, regardless of all this high-tech, intelligent phones, which I think are designed to make me look dumber and dumber. These intelligent phones sometimes we get galvanized and on websites, and we want to meet real people, shake hands, and actually see who's behind all this technology. Right. Mm-hmm. And I think the trade show really does that for us.
Well, we recently met someone at the trade show in the David L. Lawrence Convention Center at the Marcellus Midstream Conference. They represent a company that's based out of Atlanta, but had some very interesting ideas to talk about with us.
What was that? What's it? Faction?
Faction was the name of the company. Interesting name.
I remember. In fact, we did an interview while we were at the show. We take our video cameras virtually everywhere, and I don't know if our program. Can you punch up that program? Yeah, maybe you could punch that up on the console, and we'll just sit back and watch this interview. And it was at the I think it was at the Midstream Conference, wasn't it?
Marcellus Midstream Conference. I believe that was in March.
In March at the David Lawrence Convention Center.
That's right.
And here you go. Let's see what was his name? Eric Benson, wasn't it?
Eric Benson, right. He's one of the partners there.
Let's see what he has to say. Hi, this is Don Hoder from the Southpointe Marcellus Shell Chamber of Commerce. And as you can see behind us, we're here at the David Lawrence Convention Center. We're at the Marcellus Midstream Conference. And midstream means moving all of the energy from the well site through the middle to the end market, I guess you'd say. And I have with me Eric Benson, and Eric has a booth here, right?
Yes, we're an exhibitor.
Good. And the name of their company is Faction, Facteon. And we just stopped Eric as he was walking by just to see what he does and how that ties into this whole industry. So what does Faction do?
Well, what we do is we fund accounts receivables for companies that usually a small to medium-sized company billing a medium to large-sized company where their work's completed, but they can't wait the 30 to 60, 90 days to get paid because they're just growing so fast.
So what you would do is if I'm a provider, whether it be pipe or services or security at the well sites or anywhere along the way, if I have a billing to a client, you would turn that money around to me right away.
Exactly. That's exactly how it works. The first transaction, we can move usually 3 days.
3 days.
And then after that, it's a 24-hour turnaround, or even same day funding on an existing client that.
So if I have a $10,000 or $100,000 invoice and you've qualified the client that I'm working with, when I submit that invoice to the client, I also give it to you, and I have the money in the bank in 24 hours.
Yeah, what we do is we work out a system that's flexible, that won't interfere with our current client's system with their client.
Okay.
So the actual mechanics of funding the invoice will be predetermined, but it's developed so it does not interfere with our client's existing relationship with their client. But yes, it normally takes usually when we have an established client, they submit an invoice to us for funding, it can be funded that day.
So it'd be fair to say that your rates for doing this are about par with what it would take for me to swipe a card anyway, a credit card? Is it around that rate?
Our rates vary depending on the size of the volume our clients are funding with us, and also how long it takes for the invoice to pay. As a general rule, it varies from anywhere from 1.5% to 3-4%. If the client takes a long time to pay, say 90, 120 days, they can go up from there.
Well, it's understandable. So it's a great opportunity for really any vendor, and it could be anybody from the cleaning business all the way up to anybody selling parts, services, products, that they can get their money right away and move on.
We don't specialize in any industry. It really is just any company billing another company where the company they're billing is creditworthy, and they just need to put the money back in their company faster because they're just growing so fast.
Do you actually buy the receivables?
Yes, we actually buy the receivables so our clients don't incur any debt.
Oh, so it's kind of a non-recourse? Is that
It's a
the proper word?
non-recourse. We assume the credit risk. So if our client's client runs into financial trouble, that we do assume that risk.
Oh, well, then that's something you don't always see in other credit lines that are established for receivables. That's great.
That's why we pre-qualify everybody.
So you have a booth here at the
Yes.
show. You can see all the folks that are here.
We've been exhibiting. It's been a great show. The reason we're here is that we've grown rapidly in the gas and oil field service industry.
It's natural.
We've established several clients in the Marcellus Shale just because, it's usually a lot of medium-sized guy billing the big guys. And
Now, you're based right out of Atlanta. In fact,
Yep.
I know the area. You're up in the Buckhead area of Atlanta, North
Yes.
Atlanta. Do you factor for receivables for anywhere in the United States?
all 50 states.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay, so you're qualified for all 50 states
Yes.
to send that money out in 24 hours. Sounds great. Well, Eric, I want to thank you for being here and doing this interview with us. You have anything to add about
No, I think you
That's
covered
it.
it all. Like I said, it's a great industry for us, and we're excited about growing rapidly up here.
Well, thanks, Eric. And this is Don Hoder from the Southpointe Marcellus Shale Chamber thanking you for viewing this video.
Thank you, Don.
Want to be a guest on our show? Our program focuses on your successful ideas and concepts as they relate to our listening audience, as well as the products and services your company offers. We'd also like to know more about your personal life and how you chose your career. Someone said, a compelling story told to the right listeners in an exciting, truthful way leads to success that is helpful to all. Be a guest on our show by contacting our program manager, Don Hoder, at 724-873-7777 or email at don@southpointe.net. Again, that's 724-873-7777 or don@southpointe.net. Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Business Community Show. This is Terry Caldwell, your co-host of this week's show. And wow, Don, we meet some fascinating people at some of these trade shows that we attend.
You know, we do, Terry, and it's really Eric from Faction is just another example of a business idea that a lot of us, especially in the Pittsburgh area, don't really think about. And selling your receivables for cash in 24 hours is a great idea. And for some companies, it doesn't even matter their cost to sell their receivables. They need cash flow. They need money to a lot of us out there need money to just move to the next project on our desk in our company, and the ability to get I think it's 80% of your money in 24 hours by selling your receivables. Right. It's just something you don't hear too much about.
Well, you know what? Funny you mentioned that. I think we've talked about that. Is that something that you have done in the past with your business?
With my business, I have actually done it, and it really takes the edge off. And I'll tell you something funny about that idea, too. Whenever you do that with another company, they become kind of the registered hammer in case the right. receivables is late. You don't have to call your client who has a rapport with you in the service business. Now all of a sudden you have to put your collections hat on and call that very client and say, "Hey Joe, could you cut us a check this week?" They do that for you. They call up and say, "Hey, you're going on 45 days. We'd like to have that check in," and they're perceived as a credit registering agency. So a lot of companies they'll mess around with a small company and say, "You know what, I'm going to hold off paying this guy for a while." But whenever they're up against a factoring company that did a credit check on your client, rather, not your vendor, and it's time to pay, there's a little more behind it in terms of, well, I better pay this guy. I don't want to be reported to the credit bureau. And we're not saying that's the function of the factoring companies, but it's certainly in the background that gets the cash moving. In fact, it's funny. I actually had companies that said to me, I said I'm factoring. Unless you want to take 2 or 3% off the invoice and pay me now, we won't have to do that. And I've actually had companies pay me cash right away and just take the 2% opportunity off of my invoice. So, cash is king, and cash flow is a big factor in business. And I don't care how you could be doing great on paper, but hey, who's going to pay that light bill tomorrow? And it does happen when you're growing a company quickly.
Well, it sounds like this could be something that small to mid-sized businesses could find to be extremely helpful for them in growing their business. Would you say that?
Oh yeah. Well, what's funny though is the larger companies are doing it, because they'll be factoring $500,000, and although it might cost them $30,000 to factor $500,000, and I don't know the numbers exactly, but it's a good number. It's worth having that $500,000 in the bank to move forward with your company. And I was surprised at the bigger companies that are factoring. And of course, that's not on your credit report. It doesn't use your credit line. It's just an opportunity to move cash in your company quickly. And sometimes it isn't about interest. It's about that. So, hey, it's been, that's the fastest hour I have seen. And I think it's time to wrap this up. But I think the main thing that we want to tell our folks is that we're really looking at we want you could call anytime during the show. You can call right now. We're answering the phones, 724-873-7777. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, 724-873-7777. We're answering the phones now. And, of course, go to our website, which is southpointechamber.com. And you'll be able to see all the good things there, and southpointe.net. And last, I'd like to say there's an E on the end of Southpointe. A lot of people drop that E. Yeah, I guess it's French or something. What do you have to add, Terry?
I think we'd also talked about adding in the mentioning being on the show to perhaps have an interview with us. Was that something that you had thought about at some point in the past?
You mean you and I?
No, I mean some of our TV, some of the business
I'm sorry.
people that are calling in.
I'll catch on. I need my fourth cup of coffee here. Yes, any of you in the listening audience that want to be a part of this show, call us now at that number, and all email us at show@southpointe.net or radio show@southpointe.net, and give us a jingle. We'll put you on the show. Obviously, we have sponsorship opportunities. If you want to advertise on the show, we have openings for that. And also, we have interview opportunities on the show. So we have both going for you. And we'd like to thank Word FM for helping us put this together. It's not as easy as I thought it would be when you're listening to a show. All the intricacies. We have to thank our Mike, our technical guy here that makes sure that we're on time. And that's it for now. This is Don Hoder from the Entrepreneur Business Community Show, thanking you for listening in.